Hello, I'm Pam from Quilters Trading Post and I'm going to show you how to do some hand embroidery today. This is the fabric that's in your kit for your embroidery. It's got nice pattern printed on it, all ready to go. The edges are not finished. You need to do that because you don't want it to fray when you're doing your hand embroidery. So the best thing to do is to use overlocker machine, but if you haven't got one of those, and everybody doesn't have one, you can just do a zigzag along the edge, which is perfectly all right. Hoops. I always use a hoop when I do my hand embroidery. A lot of people don't because it's easier to get the fabric in your hands and do it like this. You can get the needle in and out in one go instead of having to do the uppy downy thing when you've got it in a big hoop. Well, with a 6-inch hoop, you can do it like you're doing hand embroidery, without a hoop, and it's the best way. But I've got this one bound. This is the one I like to use the most because it keeps the fabric in it more stable. But this one's fine as well. They've got different ways of unscrewing it and screwing it up. Some have got a screwdriver one, like this one has, and some you'd need a pair of pliers, small ones, to fiddle it backwards and forwards. Right, so I'm going to show you how to put this into the hoop. Here we go. Now I've got to decide which part to put in first, and it doesn't matter. You can move it around. It doesn't hurt the embroidery at all to put the hoop in where you've already got some embroidery. All mine are done like that, and none of them have been damaged. So I look to see which part I can get most of in one go, because as I do it, I want to do the whole lot that's in there. With the embroidery stitches, I'll be using chain stitch and satin stitch, and those are the only two on this, which makes it really easy to do. If you can't do satin stitch, you can put chain stitch on all of it, but satin stitch for these little flowers is really nice, and for these leaves, these small leaves. I don't like satin stitch on big panels because it's hard to do it neat, but on these small ones it's perfect. Now, so I'll put that underneath and I can more or less see where it's going. I think I want to do probably those two little flowers. I might do some of those, but when I put this on I can see where it's going. You lay your underneath ring on the bottom and this on the top and push it down. Pull it nice and tight. You might think you won't want to pull it too tight, but it won't hurt at all, and it's nice to have it tight. It'll loosen up as you go anyway. So there, I'm going to tighten it up a bit with a screwdriver. See, I have this on an embroidery with some embroidery already on it, and you'll need to loosen it up for that because it won't go on otherwise. And it gets tighter as it goes along. There we are. It should be all right. You see what I mean? When you've got that, like that, and you can push your finger, that finger, right to the middle, right to the very middle. So when you're stitching, you can use it like you've got no hoop on it. Brilliant. I'd like to talk about threads now that you're going to be using. You can choose whatever colour threads you want. In the pattern it tells you which ones I use, the blue ones and the green ones, but these I've been and chosen some different colours so you can see what it's like if you use something different. Now there's 3 different shades for each colour. There's only 2 colours, so that's the outside one, that's one I call the shading one, and that's the centre one, and it's the same with the pink. The pink is for the flowers, just the flowers, and the green's just for the leaves. Now when you use this, I find I like to hold it like this and take the end and pull it gently. 1, 2, 3. They don't always come out neatly like that, but if they do, that's good. And then I cut it off just long enough so you can see for next time. Now that is between a metre and a yard, so it's about 38 inches, a meter's 36 and a yard's 36 and a meter's 40. I don't like short thread. Some people say you need shorter thread than that, but you don't have to keep starting off as many times. You don't get as many knots in it, you don't get as many fasten offs, and with these stitches that I use, you use thread up really quickly, so it's really good. I'll show you how I work it. These are all my ways of working things. Some people might do it differently, it doesn't matter. Now, I always use 3 strands for this because it shows up nicely. Some people say you only have to use 2, but 3 is, I find, the best. Now split that into 2 because there's 6 strands in this embroidery thread. And then what you do is you get hold of it like that, and then you wind it round like that, and very gently and slowly pull it out like this. It works ever so easily if you do it if you do it too quick, you'll get a knot. You don't have to. And then when you get to the end, see how it jumps up? That and twizzles. You get it untwizzled by running your fingers down. Hold on to this one and then do that one like that. Now that's untwizzled, that's lovely. Put that aside and then do this one. Like that. Lovely. Now, needles. I use chenille needles. They're the best for this. They've got a nice big eye and they've got a nice point on the end. I don't like, when you buy them, they come in a pack with thick ones and thin ones. I don't know what the numbers are, I have no idea. But in that pack, I don't use the thickest ones because it's not very easy to stitch with. Threading it, I always wet the end, always. I know people say you don't do that because it comes undone. No, it doesn't for me. I don't know why theirs does, but it doesn't for me. And I just put it through, lovely, threaded. The very finest one of these needles is not as easy to thread. So I put the needle in front of a piece of white paper and then you can see through the hole in the eye, and it's so much easier to thread. Now, I like a knot in the end. I was taught by my grandmother how to knot. Lick your finger like that, round, and then push it down like that, and so it twizzles around there. Then with this finger, got it held in your finger and thumb, pull it like that, and you'll get a nice knot. If it's got a bit of a tail on it, you don't want too much of a tail, just chop the end off. There we go. Then you're ready to go. But with all my colours, I do 2 at a time because you don't want to be losing that. I know by practice how that happens. I look everywhere to see what I've done with the other one. So if you've got them stuck in a nice pincushion, before I start a sewing session, I get them all ready to go. Can you see them? Rightio. Yeah, put a knot in them. And then that'd be stuck in there, but I don't need to stick that in there because I'm ready to go now. So I'll put that back there, get rid of my these. What's got me thread, and I have a waste paper bin on the floor down here normally because I get into trouble if I've got bits of thread all over the floor. Quite often the house is covered in bits of thread when I've been sewing, but there you go.